Yesterday saw our first repeat winner of the series with Lucas Weisenberg able to take victory after a thrilling duel with Jackson Bell from Copeland Motorsports. Today, the roles are reversed, with Weisenberg's sparring partner Jackson Bell leading this field around to pole position, looking for his first victory of the season and a stake to the claim of 2025 Toyota GR Cup North America champion. DJ Clark up here in the commentary booth alongside Kyle Heyer. Cars are rolling off out of the grid as we get ready for a 45-minute race of thrilling action. And if yesterday was any indication, this is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, race 2, round 1 was pretty exciting, wasn't it? We had some last lap battles, some 3 wide for the lead into the S's, and a little bit of hip and shoulder as well. We also had some drama on the start with a wave off in a car that had, as I suspected, a loose oil drain plug. So that caused the number 2, Will Robusto, to have to replace the motor overnight. They qualified in 6th place, but we've reshuffled the deck with qualifying this morning, like you said, with Jackson Bell earning himself the pole position, but it's still the 7 and 46. It's gonna be a rehash battle from yesterday.
It'll be a rehash battle in that pole position. Copeland Motorsports and Lucas Racing, your first two. In row 2, it's 2 other favorites for contenders in the form of Spike Kohlbecker and Ethan Goulart for RVA Graphics and Tech Sport, respectively. Moving back into row 3, it's going to be Ford Koch and Will Robusto, your championship leader coming into the weekend. He's got a little bit of work to do to get that back. Weston Workman will start 7th alongside John Dean, who got on the podium yesterday. And then as we move back into row 5, it is going to be Aiden Kirk and Ethan Ayers for Tech Sport and Nitro Motorsports.
Yeah, Jensen Sofronis in the 41 Copeland car rolls off 11th alongside the 71 Christian Weir. Then it's Beltre Curtis in his 2nd ever event alongside 14-year-old Jackson Tovo, who had a broken anti-roll bar yesterday. He rolls off 14th. It's Livio Galante in the number 89 Eagles Canyon car, 15th place, with Max Schweid for Tech Sport Racing in 16th. Zach Hollingshead rolls off 17th place, the PT Autosport car, and the number 15 car is going to be Kowalski in 18th place. It's Skip Barber Racing's Alex Garcia, and it's going to be Jason Kose in 19th and 20th.
The other Tovo, Ethan Tovo, lines up 21st alongside Patrick Brunson for Eagles Canyon Racing. This is a track that Patrick knows well. Carl Foreman will line up in 23rd alongside Sunseri, who had some incidents at the beginning of the race yesterday. Mike Lamara will roll off in 25th position alongside Farron Davis, 2 of the Legends drivers. They are starting in row 13. Then it's Peyton Fan in 27th position alongside it will be Curry in 28th. Rutledge Wood, our celebrity coming into the series, is 29th alongside Andrew Gilliland in 30th. And running out the back of the field, it will be the number 8 machine of Tom Renai. All right, Kyle, drivers are filtering their way through the stadium section. We saw a street fight yesterday of sorts, but what are the keys to victory here around this long FIA Grade 1 circuit?
Well, track limits was a story yesterday. A handful of drivers got caught extending the track boundaries beyond what race control would let them have. Remember that on the corner exits, you get to use not only all the rumble strip, but all the painted surface out to the outer edge of the white line. So the painted verge is fair game. On the inside apexes, you have to keep a tire touching the red and white candy stripe curbing. If you go off track too many times, you'll end up getting a drive-through penalty. We saw a number of those yesterday, so you got to keep it in play, keep it in bounds if you want to win today.
Toyota GR86 safety car down into pit lane. Jackson Bell controls the field as they come through turn 20. Lucas Weisenberg to his outside. They have to wait until the VP acceleration zone to get up and going. Check up through the rest of the field. There you can see it on the left-hand side of your screen. A little bit of wiggling farther back in. Bell has control as they enter into that acceleration zone. Eyes go to Tom Hansing, and there goes the green. We are racing at Circuit of the Americas. It's a good getaway there for Jackson Bell. A little bit of fanning out farther back in the field. It looks like Kohlbecker's going to think about a move up to the inside there of Weisenberg. That's not going to play out. Goulart now trying to take opportunity as many cars going wide through turn 1.
John Dean out to the gravel trap there, who started in 8th place. Now they got to get sorted out before the S's. This is tough to do side by side. There's a tire bundle on the inside of turn 3. Do not clip that there. It's easy if you're side by side. A little bit of door to door with the 78 of Ethan Ayers as well.
Robusto making a big move there on Spike Kohlbecker to move his way up into 4th position. Kohlbecker doesn't look too happy about it, but up up at the front of the field. It is Bell and Weisenberg dueling as they did yesterday. Ford Koch there in the 47 of Aiden Kirk as well as they work their way into turns 8 and 9. Goulart with a little bit of an alternate line.
Yeah, got behind in the steering a bit, I think, and it's going to cost him some time to Bell and Weisenberg. Those front two, they race each other hard yesterday. I think they're going to be capable of breaking the draft with those in third on back. A little bit of side-by-side with Schweid and Jason Coase in the number 3 there. Schweid gets the advantage.
Big move up into the inside for the 13 there of Weston Workman. He's got some work to do, bumping and shoving out of the way down the back straightaway. That was Aiden Kirk that he gave the shoulder to.
Yeah, Kirk just throttled up through the grass and got back on course. Remember that these GR86s have some go-fast bits on them, but the suspension geometry is effectively the same as a stock GR86, just JRI adjustable shocks, taking a shot there in the runoff area. Here comes John Dean up the inside, 3 abreast for position into turn 12.
Dean with the big move to the inside of Kirk and Workman. They're going to sort themselves out 3 wide farther back in the field as well. Not seeing any major contact, so that's a good thing. That breakaway you mentioned certainly looking like it's playing out. Dean now trying to go around the outside of the number 13 of Workman, but Workman holds firm, and he's going to be able to get that position. Workman not done. He wants to try to get a run there on Ethan Ayers. Farther back in the field, that's Alex Garcia trying to make moves.
Brunson and Kowalski almost came together there on the run down to turn 15. That's the gold car, and then the gray and yellow. But they managed to keep the cars pointed in the right direction, and now into the carousel. Triple apex right-hander, 100+ miles an hour, leaning on those left side Continentals here. But the front two of Bell and Weisenberg have established about a half-second advantage over Ethan Goulart.
Here's the number 47 machine. That's Aiden Kirk. Weston Workman finally able to get that. Here comes Ford Koch trying to make a move down to the inside of Kohlbecker. Kohlbecker losing a couple positions on this opening lap, and Koch going to try to make him pay once more as we start lap 2.
Yeah, Koch had a really nice qualifying effort here. We've seen flashes of brilliance from him over the past season and a half or so, but he is now charging up alongside that Vanguard Engines number 55, a Spike Kohlbecker, the yellow car with red stripes, and Weston Workman and Aiden Kirk continue their battle. They have not yet sorted that one out from the backstretch.
Workman's got it 4 now, but Kirk looking threatening. Koch trying to go down to the inside of Kohlbecker. That's not going to work. Kohlbecker maintains that position.
There's a couple cars really close to the gravel trap at turn 1. They had run all the way to the edge of the road. And again, I mentioned track limits, but I think if you're a couple cars wide and you get crossed up, as long as you're not gaining an advantage, they're not going to penalize you for that. But it was pretty exciting there in the background.
Yeah, there we go. Also like to see Will Robusto. He was that car that you mentioned yesterday that had a little bit of problems. He's able to keep on going. He'll hold on to 4th position. There's Robusto as he's trying to close in on the back of Ethan Goulart, and Robusto, who was the winner in race 2 at Sonoma, looking to add to his points haul after a DNF yesterday.
Yeah, it was just the oil pan drain bolt that was just not quite threaded all the way, and that's why it was sort of vaporizing the oil. It didn't leave a streak, but it drained all the oil out of the car, and I can tell you from experience that running an engine out of oil is not a great idea. So, of course, that forced an engine change for that number 2 car, and now trailing in 4th place. Not a bad start, though, for a fresh motored car.
No, it certainly isn't. Goulart, though, not looking to go defensive in front of the field. Jackson Bell looks like he's starting to press an advantage here over Lucas Weisenberg. That gap is growing. Well, it was growing. Now here comes Robusto down to the inside of Goulart. Goulart shuts the door.
Yeah, Goulart leading the charge there for Tech Sport Racing. They have a handful of young talent here in the field. Goulart's always got a smile on his face here in the paddock. Has stopped by and said hi a couple times here this weekend, but he has been busy and at work trying to earn his first podium here in Toyota GR Cup North America.
Yeah, he is hungry for it, and you can tell. You're always going to recognize that car, the white and purple, very distinctive livery on it. It looked like there for a second, alternate lines. Bell and Weisenberg up at the front of the field. Weisenberg starting to poke and prod here after I thought that gap was expanded.
It just looks a lot like yesterday, where Weisenberg was controlling this gap up to Bell, because I do think that the 46, as we saw at the tail end of the race, can easily match Jackson Bell, and Bell can match Weisenberg. I don't think one is better than the other, but when it came to fisticuffs yesterday at the tail end of the race, it was just a matter of chance as to who was where when. But I think we're going to see a rehash battle of that again. You just have to hope they keep their hands to themselves there on that last lap.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of leaning on each other, but nothing that I wouldn't call fair game. Bell went defensive down the front straightaway, now comes back to the traditional racing line. Looks like the top 10 or so relatively content to stay where they are. Maybe just trying to push ahead a little bit later on in the race.
Hasn't this felt calm to you?
Yeah, especially compared to yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, the race start was so chaotic yesterday with the wave-off start and the car leaking oil. Today, it's felt very calm, and that makes me nervous because this might be the calm before the storm elsewhere in the field. For the lead, it's very much like what we saw yesterday. Ethan Goulart, though, impressing me in 3rd, but he is definitely driving more in the rear view than he is out the windshield.
Yeah, he's watching behind on Will Robusto, making sure that Robusto's not going to be able to mount too much of a charge on him. Weisenberg, Bell up at the front. Jackson running some really good lines here. He's keeping everything together. He's not driving the mirror.
Trouble. 51. That's Massimo Sinceri. He was the driver that was involved in the race start collision yesterday. Damaged the right front of that fender. This is coming up, I think, out of turn 7. And you're bouncing over a lot of curbs over here. So I wonder if he just got unsettled or if there was some contact, DJ.
Well, there's Sinceri in the 51 going side by side with the 113 of Ethan Tovo.
Just the slightest of touches. Yep. Again, I don't know that he was already sort of sideways and the car was off balance. And how about a little door-to-door action here? Is that Livio Galante and the 88 is Zach Hollingshead?
Yes, it is. They're going to try to sort themselves out. And now here comes Robusto. Here comes Workman. Noah's Ark down into the corner, 2 by 2. Robusto getting his elbows out on Ethan Goulart, trying to force him off, and Workman doing the same on Kohlbecker.
Yeah, and again, those cars running well beyond the track limits boundaries, but if race control feels that you've been forced out there and you're not using it to gain an advantage, they're not going to penalize you for that. Crossover, Robusto is going to sneak back down the inside of Goulart, takes the spot away. Goulart pays it right back. What an over-under battle. I love this arena section here at COTA for this exact reason.
It really produces some of the best racing you are going to see on the planet. Goulart trying to go the long way around the carousel. If he can make this stick, he'll have the preferred line going into turn 19. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it. He is going to be able to do it. Amazing levels of commitment there from young Ethan Goulart.
Both these drivers, young talent. Robusto's going to have a look into turn 20. Goulart goes defensive. Robusto on the outside has the Continentals on the candy stripes. That's going to be tough math to slow down. But on the front stretch now, much better run for the 2 car.
And welcome to the party, Weston Workman and Spike Kohlbecker. They're brought up into it. It's going to be side by side between Goulart and Robusto coming down the main straightaway. Workman trying to figure out where he wants to position that number 13 car. Here's Robusto down to the inside. Workman follows him through.
Workman took that opportunity to sneak up the inside of maybe 1, maybe 2 of them here as he's now side by side with Goulart. Goulart now struggling here to get the car back on course, and Spike Kohlbecker in the Vanguard car watching all this out the windshield. Smells blood in the water here.
Yeah, Robusto now is going to try to set his sights ahead on the leaders, and hopefully he's going to be able to pray that Goulart and Workman continue to scrap. Goulart a little bit slideways there, coming through turn 6 and 7. Let's see if they can get anything now, as this is a 4-car train in the battle for 4th place.
A piece of debris tumbling. I don't know if it was a wing mirror or something from another car, but all these cars look like they're still in one piece. Goulart, again, a driver that has a ton of experience in club racing, running lightweight front-engine rear-drive cars, so racecraft is sort of his forte, but he looks a little bit behind the 8 ball here on the hind foot as he's getting attacked by Workman, Kohlbecker, and now Ford Koch.
Dean with a big move up into the inside there of Aiden Kirk. You saw that in the background of your shot, and Dean's going to move his way up into 8th place. He'll be looking to be able to take that WEX Legends trophy at the end of the run.
And Jackson Bell has begun to put a gap on Weisenberg. This is the largest gap we've seen for the lead as Goulart re-attacks Robusto into turn 12, and Koch on Kohlbecker. They're going to chase each other to the left edge of the road.
A little bit of debris popping up into the air there. Oh, big slam at the door for Goulart, and now Workman's going to try to pick up the pieces. I think that's fender liner coming off of somebody's car.
Yeah, just some plastic. That's not functional, so don't worry about that, but there has been a couple comings together here. All the while, these drivers are fighting for 3rd. This is the last step on the podium. They give you a trophy for this one, but the 1st and 2nd place cars have definitely established a pretty sizable advantage, and Bell is almost out of the draft distance for Lucas Weisenberg, so Lucas is only going to have a lap or 2 to close that gap back up before Bell will just drive away.
Yeah, and he's got to watch out for it, but that's not where our eyes are. They are on this battle for P3 on back. This is really 3rd all the way back to 7th. And if John Dean is able to break away from Aiden Kirk, we may see him get brought into this battle as well. This is that battle for 8th. A little bit of a look for Kohlbecker, a little bit of a look from Koch as they come down into turn 20.
Now that John Dean is dispatched, whoa, look at this battle. Here's Max Schweid, Brett Kowalski, Alex Garcia, Ethan Tovo. This is down the order about 17th place into turn 20. Ethan Tovo has a look at Garcia, but everyone's line is stern like a freight train here. Which locomotive is going to lead the train?
Hollingshead leading that pack right now for 16th. There's the poke out of line for Garcia. Let's check back in on the battle for P3. Koch trying to make a move on Kohlbecker. Maybe a little bit of a wide run there. They're all going to find themselves back into line. I thought for a second that Workman was going to have a move on Goulart. Robusto has been shuffled back down into 5th.
Yeah, Goulart, again, had such a strong start, but continues to kind of be the cork in the bottle here as they battle for third place. Back to the battle for about 17th spot. Make that 16th now as Schweid has dispatched the 88 of Zach Hollingshead. String lining here, kind of just threading the needle between these rumble strips. Again, you can't go 4 tires below the curbing, and Goulart and Workman now battling for position. Workman didn't have a great qualifying effort, so he's been sort of undoing that and is almost back to a podium spot.
Yeah, and Goulart really looks like he's under pressure here. He looks like he's behind the 8 ball, as you said earlier. Big move from Kohlbecker. Workman to the outside. Kohlbecker gets that car slowed down enough. Robusto carries speed around the outside as they come flying down the back straightaway. Dean continues to try to draw in on this battle from behind, and it looks like it's Kohlbecker and Koch that are slightly out of position.
Yeah, again, I think the fender liner seems to have come from the 2 car. I think I still saw some things flapping around under the right front of that 2. Don't think it'll hurt him a whole lot. Here comes Workman on the brakes underneath Ethan Goulart. So BSI Racing looking for a podium spot.
Oh, Robusto thought about it too. Workman up into 3rd, past that debris we were just talking about. They're going to get themselves sorted here. Dean is officially at this battle, right to the rear bumper of Spike Kohlbecker. Kohlbecker looks like he's giving a push there to Koch. But I've got to say, Dean is now involved in this, as is Aiden Kirk onto the back of this. This is 3rd all the way down to, dare I say, 10th?
Yeah, John Dean just dragged his right side Continentals through the dirt at turn 14. They've added grass all the way up to the rumble strips there. That used to be concrete. I think John Dean just discovered it's dirt and grass now. But again, all the experience he has in that 16 car from one-make racing at the club racing level and in pro racing, he used that to his advantage late in the race yesterday to claw up to 3rd and had a shot to win the race too.
Yeah, he really did. And we actually thought coming into that first turn that he was going to be able to make that work. Unfortunately, just too much speed from Jackson Bell and Lucas Weisenberg. Can tell you, Bell continues to grow that gap up to 1.3 seconds. Keep your eye on Dean. Move here on Spike Kohlbecker. He's going to poke his nose to the inside and try to carry momentum on that inside lineup. Big Red.
Yeah, Spike Kohlbecker has got that left rear bumper cover sort of unseated from the clips, and that will act like a parasail in the wind here. Again, long straightaways, you've got some drag to worry about here, and you're going to trim the wing out so you don't have a lot of downforce relative to what you would have had at Sonoma, but it's not completely in the wind stream yet, but it's probably not helping.
Very nice move there from John Dean. That'll move him up into 7th place. Again, your Wex Legends current, I believe, points leader, as well as leading the way in that championship. Now Aiden Kirk has been able to get to the back here of Spike Kohlbecker, bringing Weir along with him.
Those are 2 Tech Sport Racing teammates, the 47 and 71, so they might be willing to work together to get by the yellow 55.
Kohlbecker's got a little bit of an advantage of him. This is the closest one that we've got. This is for 4th. Goulart, Robusto, and Koch. It does look like now that Workman has been able to clear this battle, he's got a little bit of a gap. Let's call that about 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, Workman again came up just shy of a race win here last year when Jackson Bell was able to win. And Bell still hunting for his 2nd career win. Weisenberg won his 3rd yesterday. So again, this early in the championship, reestablishing who are the ones to watch. And we've been pointing at the 7 and 46 since the testing a couple of weeks out at Sonoma. And that continues to be the case here at Circuit of the Americas, but Jackson Bell has just lit the afterburners. I mean, a 1.3 second lead this year hasn't existed yet. I mean, this is the biggest advantage we've seen so far.
I mean, this is like what we saw last year. As here is the gentleman we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Rutledge Wood, TV personality, motorsports guru, joining us. Rutledge currently running in 24th.
Yeah, and he did a really nice job yesterday in all the chaos of the race start, which was confusing enough for those that have had a lot of experience in this series. Kept the nose clean, not a scratch on that Precision Racing LA number 18. He's going for a big slide at turn 13, though. Big, wild moment for Rutledge Wood as Farron Davis goes on by.
And that is what we call the commentator's curse, ladies and gentlemen, right there. Farron Davis able to pick the pocket, though, of Rutledge Wood. That'll demote him down into 25th position, but he's got a nice little battle on his hands. He'll be able to keep this up for a while.
You know what? I'm going to say that sliding around for Rutledge Wood is good. This is a weekend to learn, and experiencing the limit, stepping over it, and being able to get it back without spinning the car out is huge. So once you can get comfortable sliding the car around, dancing on that limit, like this at turn 19, it's going to heat up the Continentals, but every time he catches that, he's learning something here. How to find that limit and not completely step over it. I know he's losing spots. I know it seems counterproductive, but when we see him at the next race at Road America, this experience here is going to teach him a ton.
Yeah, it really is. Peyton Fain, by the way, able to get on by Rutledge there. That was that car that you saw sneak on through. Also saw there, I believe, that was Mike Lamara and Andrew Gilliland. Gilliland, your biggest mover from yesterday, as Lamara tries to send a move up the inside there of Rutledge Wood.
And Rutledge still seems really loose, but again, he's playing pitch and catch with it a little bit, just kind of tossing the car into the corner and dancing a little bit past the limit. And where the speed comes in these cars is finding that right before the car steps out, where you've just got a little bit of yaw in the corner that you can lean on. And he'll figure it out if he's doing what he's doing. You're never going to get faster unless you test the limit out. And so right now, it's fun to watch him do it. I'm sure he's having a tough time in the car at the moment, but he'll be smiling about it post-race.
Yeah, he certainly will. John Dean will also have a big smile on his face as he's moving to get past Ford Koch right now. That's them side by side down the back straightaway. Oh, Peyton Fain off into the gravel in a big way.
Yeah, this appears to be in the S's somewhere by turn 8 and 9 potentially. And she's dug herself pretty deep into the gravel trap, and this will likely bring out a full course yellow that will erase any advantage that Jackson Bell has. So that's not what the 7 team wanted to see, but the battles continue for now.
Battles continue. Ford Koch trying to fight back on John Dean. Dean's going to more momentum, and there is that full course yellow that you mentioned, Kyle.
Yeah, a little bit of a stack up there. Koch into the back of the 16 of John Dean. Probably couldn't see the double yellows waving, but as we suspected, a full course yellow for Peyton Fain. And again, this is an easy place to get crossed up. She's trying to get out, but she's dug herself really deep. Here's a look at a replay, and just already sideways before she got into the corner, and just had it already. Again, we've seen Rutledge kind of dancing on the limit. If you're on that limit and sliding and then you hit a curb, it'll just bounce the car into the air and overcorrect it off into the gravel. So hopefully we can get a tow truck over there and get that car extracted relatively quickly.
And get her back on track, crucially, as well. All right. Good news here, I think, for Weston Workman.
And Weisenberg.
And Weisenberg. Bad news for Jacksonville.
Yeah, not what they wanted to see. They were quickly running away from the rest of the field, and as we saw yesterday, the restarts give the leader an opportunity to lose the race, and you don't want that, especially when you've driven out to a 1.5 second advantage. I think watching Ethan Goulart, the body language of that 72, he's been on defense more than he has been offense, but you're right about Weston Workman in that 13. He's been running really nice laps, actually has the second quickest lap of the top 3. So the 13, in theory, should be able to make his way around Lucas Weisenberg.
Yeah, I think he's going to really be a part of this battle now. And truthfully, this is the battle that we kind of thought, predicted might be the case. We circled the 3 of these drivers, Bell, Weisenberg, Workman, as 3 of the main title contenders coming into the year. The one that we also circled was Spike Kohlbecker. And Kohlbecker just hasn't seemed like he's had the pace here this weekend.
Yeah, something's just a little bit off. 8th place isn't bad, but when you talk championship contention, Spike Kohlbecker was in it in the previous few seasons, so he'll need to find a little bit more speed to really be up in the mix for the title fight as Peyton Fain's car gets put on the hook here. There is Spike Kohlbecker in the Vanguard, engines number 55, the yellow car with the Ackerman Toyota logos on the side. And they've got a bunch of guests here this weekend for Vanguard. They've been watching Spike Slice and Dice alongside teammate Will Robusto. I just love this because it's easy to spot. You never mistake which car this one is.
No, you never, ever miss that one whatsoever. Very similar, I think, to the Aiden Kirk's car with the red on the front. That one does very similar things to me. Coming down the back straightaway here at this point, what's going to be your strategy to try to take off here if you are Jackson Bell? Do you stack up the field? Do you go early? We've seen yesterday in some of the other races here for the SRO Motorsports Group America schedule that there's been some varying strategy.
Yeah, for Jackson Bell, there's one of 2 things, and you bring up the strategy of stacking up the field. Let's talk about the restart procedures here in SRO America. The leader can begin accelerating through the middle of turn 20, the final turn on the racetrack. No one is allowed to initiate a pass until the green flag is waving. The green flag probably isn't going to wave until the field is mostly on the front straightaway. So Jackson Bell is inclined to typically accelerate as soon as he can. Now, the advantage to waiting, because you don't have to go until the green flag waves, is if you stack up Weisenberg, Workman, Goulart, and you cause a melee behind you, then you can cause everyone else to fight. But it also leaves you vulnerable to a pass at turn 1. I think Jackson Bell's had the pace. To me, I think you go immediately out of turn 20.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I'm also just not a guy that likes to see the stack up. I think it gets a little bit
messy.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly the reason why you do it, because everyone's anticipating the start, right? And if you can still get a jump on the drivers behind you, it's going to be 3 wide off into turn 1. The other thing to consider, pretty long front straightaway here. If you leave turn 20 pretty quickly, Weisenberg might have an opportunity to use the slipstream up into turn 1, but as we've seen, the slipstream in this car isn't incredibly powerful. So again, I think your advantage is go as soon as possible, but Weisenberg will be anticipating that, and it's when you wait that it's going to start throwing people off.
Yeah. And we'll have to see what Jackson decides to do. And once again, he will control this restart as the field makes their way now down through turn 20. Got to imagine that we're going to be going back to green on the next lap on through. Let's talk for a second about the championship, as this now is going to throw a little bit of a wrench into it. Lucas Weisenberg, based off of my math, will be walking away if he stays in the top 3 with the championship lead. 2 victories on the season. Will Robusto came into this round as the championship leader, but obviously that DNF yesterday threw that around. This is still a wide open championship.
And for Robusto and Weisenberg, a win and a DNF in each of their first 2 rounds, so that's not going to win you a title. You need to be consistent, right? And you got to look at guys like Jackson Bell, Weston Workman. I know they haven't necessarily won a race yet, but the consistency will be the key. Now, the counterpoint to that is winning is going to cure everything else, and I don't expect a lot of DNFs for guys like Weisenberg or Robusto, but that number 2, I think he's proven that he can stay up inside the top 5. He can win races, as we saw at Sonoma, but every time you look at the practice charts, you look at the qualifying charts, that 46 and that 7 are the only 2 that have been persistent.
And that was one of the things that I talked to Jackson about yesterday. I said it was a championship drive yesterday. Didn't throw away the points, kept it there, and did what he needed to do to be able to walk away at the end of the season as a potential champion.
We talked about this with Christian Weir as well. He had to start tail of the field yesterday and drove his way up to a top 10. Your title is going to be decided by how good you make your bad days, right? Because everyone's going to have a bad day here or there, but if you're able to minimize it, you're going to be in good spot. Did Jackson Bell need to win the race yesterday? Probably not, but he could have absolutely raced a little too hard, gotten turned around, and thrown everything away. So take the second place if you can't get to first. I'd rather take a second than a 20th.
As would I. All right, let's talk also a little bit about that WEX Legends Trophy. John Dean leading the way right now in 6th overall. There's Rutledge Wood on your screen. He is competing for that as well. It's Livio Galante and Jason Kos that currently make up the podium for that WEX Legends Award. All right. Lights are out on the GR86 safety car. We're going back to green, probably with about 20 minutes left to go in this race.
Clean up those Continentals. It's like a lint roller picking up all the marbles on the racetrack. Got to peel that top layer off to get the sticky in them again. When we go back green, it'll be about 21 minutes to go, just under 21 minutes to go. And again, this restart is going to be critical. Weisenberg has seen Jackson Bell drive away, so he's going to be very aggressive on this restart. If Weisenberg gets the lead, all bets are off. We don't know what's going to happen at that point, but Bell seems quicker today.
Yeah, Bell seems like he's just got a little bit of an edge, but the wild card to throw into that, again, Weston Workman. We haven't seen Weston really up at the front of the field, even though he was slowly closing in before we had this full course yellow period.
Yeah, BSI Racing's really hungry for a race win as well. They've had a handful of podiums, but they have not won a race yet. Weston Workman has also not won a race yet. He has been so close so many times. I thought something like 8 or 9 second place finishes last year and a second at Sonoma to boot. So he is really hungry, DJ, and that 13 car from BSI Racing with the Endava colors on it is going to be as aggressive as Weisenberg.
Yes, it is, but the eyes will turn to Jackson Bell instead, as he will control the field out of turn 19. As Kyle said, control of this field and decision to go will be to Jackson Bell. He gets on that loud pedal early, didn't catch Lucas Weisenberg napping. Weisenberg's going to stay right with him, and we've already got a little bit of side-by-side between Goulart and Robusto, as rightly so. Robusto backs off. A little bit of weaving there from Jackson Bell. Green flag back in the air. We're racing. Here comes Robusto to the inside. Jackson Bell going defensive.
Yeah, Jackson Bell didn't get as good of a restart as he was hoping for. Robusto up the inside of Goulart. John Dean is going to try to cross over, but he's got Koch there to the inside, so he can't do that. The top 3 are nose to tail now, side by side through turn 2. Dean's going to have to take a bunch of curb, and there's going to be a touch there with the 2.
And that's Robusto and Dean. Who's going to be the bravest coming into turn 3? It looks like neither one wants to give. Track's going to favor back, but Robusto makes it stick.
Whoa.
Impressive stuff from the number 2.
John Dean throwing some counter steer at it. 47 of Aiden Kirk is going to lose a spot to the 71 of Christian Weir, his teammate. Lots of dust and clouds over the crest of turns 6 and 7. Spike Kohlbecker has got a couple of Copeland Motorsports cars to take down ahead of him.
Yes, he does, and he's going to try to be able to close on in. He's also going to look out of his rearview mirror. Christian Weir right there. Oh, we've got the 41. That's Jensen Sofronis with a little bit of that skirting. Looks like it's tore up.
Yeah, just a plastic piece. That's just merely a flesh wound on the 41. Won't impact the performance, but it'll be a distraction if that thing comes off. Down into turn 11 now. Everyone trying to find room to race. Beltre Curtis on the outside. Livio Galante, Zach Hollingshead. And now get in line for the long draft up towards turn 12.
They're going to push their way forward. That's one of the Eagles Canyon Racing cars. I think that was Galante going side by side. Here comes the moves from Workman. He is slicing and dicing on Lucas Weisenberg.
Yeah, Workman's looking a little quicker than the 46 now. Jackson Bell is already out to a half-second advantage. All he wants to see is these two cars go at it so he can build his advantage. He did not want to see Workman complete the pass as quickly as that.
No, he did not. The question is going to be is if Weisenberg is able to fight back here through this stadium section, down through the corners, into 15 and 16. Weisenberg trying to find something. I don't think he's got it. I think Workman's got this covered.
Weisenberg's a smart driver, and he saw Jackson Bell drive away from him in the first section of this race. So why not put the stronger locomotive on the front of the train and see if Workman can pull him up forward back to Jackson Bell?
He knows right now that Workman is, I think, a little bit down on points. I think something may have happened to Ethan Tovo, falling down through the order a little bit. Rough day for him.
It's a rough weekend for Ethan Tovo. Had the drive-through yesterday for track limits as the 13 uses every inch of racetrack at the 19th corner. But Jackson Bell, again, continues to sprint away. He does not want this to come to blows like it did yesterday.
No, he does not. Going to cross over the line here, and the gap is almost up to a full second. So Jackson Bell doing exactly what he needs to do. Single file for the majority of the field until we get back to about 20th position. That it is an absolute gaggle.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cars back there, including Ethan Tovo, so he's still on track alongside Jason Coase in the 3. Here comes Zach Hollingshead, Beltre Curtis, and there's Jackson Tovo and Jensen. That's going to be Jensen Sofronis. A bunch of 14-year-olds driving through there, knocking fenders. Is the 80 of Hollingshead. 3 wide, no space. And smartly, Hollingshead backs out, but he's got his fender liner. He's just kicked out to the side, and Max Schweid's going to take him 3 abreast into turn 3. That math does not work.
If Schweid can make this stick, that may be the move. Galante has to get out of it as he would have gained an advantage by going off track. Very heads-up stuff from Max Schweid. Now side by side. That's going to be...
Oh, boy. Galante out of control, trying to gather it up in the Eagles Canyon Racing car. Here comes Kowalski to try to sneak attack into turn 8.
And that was Hollingshead that was able to get by him. Contact. Is he going to hold on to it?
Oh, man, I can't believe he kept that thing from sliding out of control. It's still sideways up at the top of the hill.
That's Garcia trying to make a push on there as well. 3 wide. Oh, my goodness. Kowalski almost off into the grass. Now here comes Garcia looking down to the inside. That's Patrick Brunson also trying to make a move, making it 3 wide down into turn 11.
Galante just got on the wrong foot there through the S's and spent an entire sector gathering it back up. Incredible car control there. Brunson in the gold car, mirror to mirror with Alex Garcia. And that group ahead is still going at it. Max Schweid has caught some more cars.
There's 3 wide coming down the back straightaway here. My goodness gracious, action wherever you turn. Are we going to go 4 wide?
We tried.
Oh.
Schweid on the attack here. Jensen Sofronis, Jackson Tovo. A little bit of beating and banging down there at turn 12. Beltre Curtis is in there as well.
Sofronis to the inside. Curtis trying to take it around the outside. That is going to be the 98 there that's able to hold that together. That is Schweid that's able to get ahead of that melee. Now it's going to be Curtis holding in as the 31 tries to go around the outside. Still dragging that fender liner is Jensen Sofronis.
Yeah, Kowalski throttling up here as they make their way around through the carousel. And this is great battles here with Schweid now taking the advantage over Sofronis.
Yep, Schweid's got that line. Let's see if anybody tries to poke anything out. Let's take a look back up here as here comes Robusto down to the inside of Goulart coming into turn 20. I saw a little puff of smoke. I don't know if that was just a little bit of a brake lock up or if there was contact between the two, but that has done nothing for Robusto other than allow for John Dean and Ford Koch to get involved in this battle for 4th.
Yeah, lots of position swaps here. Robusto, Goulart, John Dean all battling for 4th place here. Into turn 1, Ford Koch going to cross under his teammate in that number 16, but doesn't have enough of a drive on corner exit to build some overlap.
All right, they're going to go single file. Same can't be said farther back in the field. Aiden Kirk and Spike Kohlbecker trying to sort themselves out. Christian Weir up ahead of them. Looked like Kirk may have given a little bit of a shot in the bumper there. Ayers in that red, white, and blue machine you see trailing in behind. That'll be 11th position. Oh, Rutledge Wood, it looks like he's had a little bit of a comings together, as has the 57 machine. That's going to be Jeff Curry.
Yeah, a couple of cars. I don't know if that was both cars involved in one incident or if they were separate up there, but they'll get back rolling. Didn't look like a lot of damage at the turn 1 area. 14 minutes and 30 seconds to go, and still lots to sort out here, at least for 4th on back. It looks like Jackson Bell has again established a pretty sizable advantage, but Goulart and Will Robusto have had a pretty clean and fair fight. But how long will that last with the intensity picking up?
Goulart ran a little bit wide, picked up some more momentum. Robusto taking a little bit more of the traditional line. Jackson Bell, 1.2 seconds up at the front of the field. Weisenberg, about 9 seconds back, or 9/10 of a second back of Weston Workman. Oh.
Rutledge Wood and Peyton Fan have come together, and this is on the apex of turn 8. And we saw Fan over here in the gravel earlier. Rutledge has, oh, that's big damage on the left front of Rutledge Wood's car. That's tore the left front suspension free. And the question is, I don't think that car's gonna be able to make it back around, so he'll have to try to find a cutout to pull that car in. Well, this could really make things interesting in the tail end of this race.
Robusto able to finally get by Goulart. Looks like John Dean trying to be able to do the same, just not quite able to do it. Full course yellow, and that is timely for Will Robusto, just able to get that pass.
And Weston Workman, this is happy birthday, Weston Workman. I don't know when his birthday actually is, but he'll get a chance to restart right behind Jackson Bell if we get a restart. Here's a look at the incident. Rutledge Wood and Peyton Fan just trying to occupy the same space on the racetrack there, and that did not work.
No, it did not. Unfortunately. Not sure exactly what it is, but yeah, there you can see that left front suspension very much tore up on the left side of the number 18.
Yeah, he tried to get it as far off the road as he could, but the right front wheel and left front wheel are pointed different directions, and so it's going to be tricky. And Peyton Fain's also come to a stop. So 2 different cars to pick up here, DJ. 12 minutes and 50 seconds to go. This could either be a big gift for Jackson Bell, or it could be a nightmare.
Yeah, we're about to find out. Peyton Fan again, there off to the outside. I think that's the exit of turn 10. Safety car.
Weston Workman's actual birthday is September 13th, 2004, by the way.
Oh. Makes me feel old.
But yeah, I mean, he could be celebrating either way at the tail end of this. But thanks to Amanda Busick for sending that to me very quickly. But riding behind the GR86 safety car, and with 2 cars to pick up at the turn 8-9 area, it's really a toss-up, a 50-50, if we could get this race back underway.
I think we should be able to get a lap or 2. I can't imagine that this is going to go full to the end.
Oh, man. Workman, Weisenberg, Robusto. Now that Robusto has dispatched Goulart, again, from 4th place, winning this race on a single-file restart is going to be a challenge, but if a real challenge, I think, as Rutledge Wood, his car is going to hopefully get put on the hook here in just a moment's time.
Yeah, hopefully that's not going to have to be put on the rollback.
You know, it might be. That thing is pretty tore up, and it's unfortunate. All he really had to do this weekend was just get through it, and did a very nice job yesterday through all the chaos of the race start, but just got collected there. And we didn't see how those 2 cars went into the corner, so we can't really decide if there was any big lunges or anything, but again, that's a tough area of the racetrack, and Rutledge Wood climbing out. Love the fire suit, though. It's
with the plaid.
Very stylish.
It's a nice touch.
You see Rutledge giving a pat on the back there to the Circuit of the Americas safety team, and for Rutledge, he'll have a couple more events this season to improve on what he's learned here this weekend, but I loved watching him slide the car around earlier, gathering all this information about how the car dances and plays on the limit. Once you learn to stop playing pitch and catch and learn to hang it out there without having to swing it back the other way, I think he's going to be pretty solid.
I think he is as well, and he's really ingratiated himself into the paddock well, and it's been a welcome addition.
If you remember back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the fall when we had Keanu Reeves and Cody Jones from Dude Perfect Racing, it was a lot of the same thing that we saw in their testing, but the 2 drivers took the approach very differently. Cody Jones was a lot more aggressive in the practice and qualifying days, and Keanu Reeves was pretty tentative. He worked up to pace where Cody Jones was really throwing everything he could at the car. They ended up sort of running in the similar area by the end of race 2. But again, it's all about getting comfortable, and comfort breeds confidence, confidence breeds speed.
Exactly. I couldn't have put it better myself. As we look through the field, there's a lot of sort of trailing parts. We talked about on Sophronis, obviously that
Side skirt.
Side skirt, thank you. There's a loss for words there. The side skirt, there's a couple other cars through the field that have damage, and it's kind of, unfortunately, what we've come to expect here. A little bit of pumping and banging and bumping throughout the rest of the field. This is what happens in a Toyota GR Cup North America race, but it's all within acceptable margins.
Yeah, as long as you're not turning people around or running into the back of them, a little side-by-side, trading some final. We don't really have paint much anymore, but a little bit of door-to-door action is what everyone loves to see. I think the drivers at times would disagree with that, depending on if they're the one on the inside or the outside. But again, this is not supposed to be a contact sport, but a little bit of rubbing here and there is inevitable with how competitive this 30-car field has been this season and in seasons past.
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely remarkable to see just how close it is. And yes, we've had the yellows today to kind of bunch the field back up and keep everything together, but we haven't talked about an absolute breakaway. I mean, we're talking about a gap of 1.2, 1.3 seconds that Jackson Bell has been able to build up. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot, right? And on the restart, Jackson Bell left at turn 20, right? He didn't bunch the field up. But now Weston Workman is the car behind him, not Lucas Weisenberg. Do you approach it any different? I'm not sure. But it seemed like it worked a little bit less effectively than he was hoping, but he was still able to establish a lead once he drove away. The last thing Jackson Bell wants is anybody to have overlap and force him to compromise a corner.
Exactly. He does not want to do that, get himself in a position to have to defend more. I wouldn't be surprised here at this point with Jackson Bell if he maybe changes that strategy a little bit, waits a little bit longer to get going, try to catch the team on the back, the other teams on the back foot a little bit, especially considering the fact that he's now going to be racing primarily against Weston Workman, who's his former teammate. They shared data last year. They knew each other pretty well. They know the ins and outs of their driving.
Gloves off.
Yeah.
I mean, 8 minutes to go in a race at COTA. Let's go for it. Maybe this is a big weekend for SRO America. There's a lot of eyeballs on this series, and you have to make it count. Drivers are weaving. Peyton Fayen's car is no longer at the exit of turn 10. So that means that Rutledge Wood's car was the only car left still getting put back on a rollback. And I would think that based on the body language of the cars, I think we're going to get a restart, and it might be soon.
Yeah, hearing that both cars are clear, so I think you're right about that, that we will be coming back to restart conditions. Lights are still on the safety car, but they do have until about turn 12 to turn those off. So we'll wait and see what that will be. So they makes their way down the back straightaway. And that thing that you talked about, cleaning up the tires, cleaning off that lip roller on the Continental rubber. Lights are out. We're going back to racing.
All right, clean those Continentals up. And hope your brakes are cool because they're going to be glowing hot up into turn 1 on these last charges here, heading into the corner we call Big Red up there. It's about a 100-foot climb up to the top of the hill, and then you plunge down through turn 2. The race isn't to turn 1 though, DJ. The race is to the S's. You can go side by side through turn 1. That place is plenty wide. They got a tire bundle on the left in the S's. You can't hit that. And the other side of the racetrack, rumbles or lava. You don't want to get yourself over on the right side too far, get yourself a violation of those pesky track limits.
No, you certainly do not. But now, all eyes are going to go to Jackson Bell here. When is he going to launch? That is going to be the question as they come through turns 16, 17, and 18. This long carousel. All eyes go to that number 7 machine. He controls this restart. You're not able to pass until the green flag comes out, but you're able to start accelerating based off of when that number 7 decides to go.
Yeah, Jackson Bell hunting for his 2nd career victory. Where'd the other one come? Right here last year. So he knows he can do it. It was so close yesterday, DJ, but it's all about where he launches. How aggressive do Workman and Weisenberg get on this restart? Under 6 minutes to go from COTA.
Robusto still weaving a little bit. Bell not going quite yet. There he goes. He's going to get on it.
Great restart, though, by Weston Workman. He's going to be all over Bell. Weisenberg's going to give the 13 a big push. All that he needs to do is for those front 2 to fight. Green flag waving, and we're back underway.
We're back underway with under 6 minutes to go. Here comes the look from Workman. He's going to try to go to the outside, going to go wider out to the outside. Now pinches down, tries to carry that momentum. Weisenberg's got to watch out a little bit as Robusto and Goulart maybe have a challenge for him. Workman now all over the back of Bell.
Jackson's been so good in the S's, though. That's where he's gained a whole bunch of ground on the drivers in 2nd on back. Robusto side by side with Goulart into those S's I talked about a moment ago.
Here they go. Goulart may have run a little bit wide there, and
so did the 2.
Yep,
so even Steven, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that's about how race control is going to look at that. But the top 3 continue to break away. They're still side by side for 4th place. Goulart finally wins it out.
Yeah, They're battling to see who can pick up the pieces of this front battle, but Jackson is so good through the S's. He's not leaving any opportunity for Weston to be all over him into turn 11. But Weisenberg is close. Can he shove that 13 up to the 7? He wasn't able to do it before.
No, he wasn't able to do it before. Watch for any movement. Goulart certainly thinks there's going to be some movement coming down. Whoa, big move from Robusto.
A huge send. Contact, clobbers the 46. The two cars destroyed, and that big send from Will Robusto is going to cost both of them some positions, and Weisenberg just hammers down the throttle and drives away.
You got to respect Lucas Weisenberg for that, but my goodness gracious, talk about unfortunate for yesterday's winner.
Well, Workman is going to have nobody in the rearview mirror. Now he can focus all of his energy out the windshield. Here comes John Dean looking for another podium position today. He just has to pass Goulart in the Tech Sport 72.
That's easier said than done, as Goulart's looking for his first ever podium in this series. And here they go, coming down into turn number 12. Goulart, very defensive drive. Dean hunting. This is youth versus experience.
Yeah, John Dean was able to use that experience yesterday to parlay it to a third-place finish, and immediately the two-car drive-through penalty for incident responsibility. That one's about as cut and dry as it gets. Here's a look at it. Just took a big swing. I don't think he thought he would get this far alongside the 46, who was setting up to get a run on the 13, but too far, too deep.
Yeah, too far, too deep. Credit to Weisenberg, just keeping going. I mean, that's impressive. He may still be able to salvage a point. He's running in 10th right now.
I don't even know how you keep your orientation. I mean, you got to be so disoriented after doing a 360 like that. But nicely done, and he'll salvage something out of the day. We're not done here. This will be roughly 2 laps to go, and Weston Workman has Jackson Bell in the crosshairs.
He's got him in the crosshairs, but Bell's been able to pull out a gap of a half a second here, and now look at the stack up starting to come in behind Ethan Goulart. That is where the battle could be, is I don't know if Workman's going to have enough to close down, especially with as good as we've seen Bell through the S's.
Yeah, Bell has just gained 3 or 4 tenths on everybody through the S's. Here's another big lunge from, I think that was the 41, is that Safronis up the inside of Ethan Ayres. Got the spot though. Ayres will cross him over on exit, and Weisenberg trying to recover. I don't see a ton of damage on that 46. We'll see it on the left rear. That car took that shot really well.
Yeah, it did. Credit to Toyota there to be able to produce such a solid car. Weisenberg's got the speed. Any points he can pick up here, it's not going to be any salvation to what was a potential podium thrown away. Oh, leaning on Ayres.
Don't pick yourself up another penalty though, trying to get a couple more points here. Don't make it worse. Around the outside of the 78, Aiden Kirk smells blood in the water. Opportunity ahead of him. Max Schweid, Beltray Curtis in here as well. It's going to be a hornet's nest for 9th place.
Whoa, Ayres almost into the back there. Is now here comes Aiden Kirk trying to make a look onto the back of Ayres as they're going to come down through turn 10. That'll be side by side. Kirk down to the inside, Ayres to the outside. I think Kirk is going to have the line. That's Zach Hollingshead also trying to make a move there behind.
Yeah, a little bit of hip and shoulder at turn 11. Beltray Curtis will have a run. And looks Kowalski going for a shot through the grass. Now the drag race up towards turn 12 once again. Workman still trails Bell by 0.4 of a second. Within striking distance, though, if Bell makes any mistake, but he's been rock solid so far. Battle for third again, Goulart and Dean.
Dean to the outside, Goulart to the inside. There's the 21 of Ford Koch behind them, ready to pick up the pieces. Goulart's got it for now. Koch now starting to put a little bit of pressure.
Great day for Ford Koch with that 5th place qualifying effort, now running, continues to run in 5th place, but a podium is not impossible with these two battling up ahead of him.
Right, here as they come out of turn 16 into 17, 18.
Pushing and shoving in the background there, Ethan Tovo. Remember, he got shuffled down the order earlier, back up to 17th, right behind twin brother Jackson Tovo, who we talked about having that broken anti-roll bar yesterday. It's not a fun piece to have break at a track where you have so many high-speed direction changes.
No, certainly not through the S's especially. That would be a very, very rough run. Here we go down through turn 20 for the penultimate time. White flag in the air shown to Jackson Bell, and Bell doing a little bit of weaving down the front straightaway. The dragon move rearing its head.
Yeah, Weston Workman is close, but again, if Jackson Bell can get enough of an advantage in the S's where he has all day long, I don't think Workman's going to be close enough, but up into turn 1, it's a car length between them. One big send on those Alcon brakes, and he might have it.
Looks like behind him, Goulart's able to hold on to that position, but we've got to keep our eyes right here. Can Bell continue to master the S's and pull away from Weston Workman?
Thread the needle here. They're getting very, very aggressive with the track limits through here, but you have to. This is a chance to win in one of the most competitive one-make racing series in North America. The bright future stars of road racing globally fighting it out for the top step on the podium, and Workman lost a couple tenths here. but he needs to be close into 11 or 12.
Little bit of oversteer there from Jackson Bell coming through 9.
That was a mistake. He bounced over the curb too hard, and Weston Workman's going to gain a little ground on him down into 11.
He's going to gain a lot of ground on him down into turn 11, so much so that Bell feels the need to go defensive. Workman not ready to make the attack quite yet. Here they come into turn 11.
This is it. Workman's going to get on the throttle a little bit sooner, get behind this number 7 in the slipstream. Jackson Bell is going to find everywhere but in front of Weston Workman to drive that GR86 to keep that draft from sucking up the 13 to the rear bumper. The stadium section, sector 3, is the last chance for Workman to get it done.
And Bell allowed to make as many moves as he wants there, so long as it's not in reaction to what Workman is doing. The gap at about 0.3 of a second, make that 0.329.
Here he comes, down into turn 12. Weston Workman right behind Jackson Bell. Can he sneak attack into turn 13? Will Bell go defensive? He will. Workman swings back left to the outside as they battle for the lead in the final few corners.
Workman looking for the crossover here, but Bell's got the advantage. Workman still hunting for it.
Here he
now
comes.
He's going to come down to the inside. Bell sees it coming, goes defensive. Workman goes wide. Bell with a little bit of a lockup. This isn't done yet.
No, it's going to be 2 corners left to go after the carousel, and Workman's going to have to do it in a big way. Jackson Bell led almost the entire race yesterday and lost it in the final moments. Can Workman pull through and finally end the curse that has been second place for him in this series?
Here comes Bell. 2 corners to go. Workman has a little half-hearted look to the inside. It's too fast into turn 19 to really get anything to play, and Bell nails the corner perfectly. Now down into turn 20. Workman with a look. Bell still in front. Flames coming out of the back of that Copeland Motorsports machine, and for the second time in history, Jackson Bell takes victory in GR Cup North America.
What a job Jackson Bell did. And look at Ethan Tovo, a huge send up the inside on the 5 of Beltray. Curtis misses the corner. And Curtis gets back through. Everybody banging fenders, banging doors. That's the 78 of Ethan Ayers. That was coming across the line there with Max Schweid. That was for 11th and 12th. And the rest of the field, breathless, makes it to the start-finish line. And Jackson Bell, after the disappointment and heartbreak yesterday, coming up 1 spot short, gets it done again in Austin, Texas. It's been a year since he stood on the top step of the podium, and it came down to the last sector here at Circuit of the Americas. Weston Workman denied a win again. It is coming for the BSI Racing driver. Back at Sonoma, it was a last lap battle in turn 12. Here it was in the carousel section where he just ran out of opportunities. These drivers throwing every tool in the toolkit at the battle for the top spot. Once again, the battle for third. Oh, there's trouble at the top of turn 10. And 2 cars involved in a collision. That's Jason Kos in the 3 and Paul Brunson in the 93. That's been a pretty big impact here. Here's a look at it. And they were 4 wide with the 3 car in the grass. The 98 got tagged across the nose of Alex Garcia and then hard into the barriers on driver's right at turn 10. That was a big one there on the final lap of the race. That will be disappointment for those drivers. Made it 44 minutes, but the last one tangled at the top of turn 10. Everybody catching their breath, us included. But Jackson Bell, Weston Workman, Lucas Weisenberg, where'd he end up? In 8th place, so he'll still pick up a couple of points in the Lucas Racing GR86 after the contact with the 2. We had talked earlier about Will Robusto and the penalty he picked up. Ended up being scored down in 29th place with that drive-through penalty. And it will just be a poor weekend here for the number 2. Here's a look at your race results. Jackson Bell, Weston Workman, John Dean again on the podium in the Copeland Motorsports car. Ford Koch, Christian Weir, the rest of your top 5. Then Spike Kohlbecker grabs the 6th spot for the RVA Graphics team. Ethan Goulart, Lucas Weisenberg, Jensen Safronis, another solid top 10, and Aiden Kirk for Tech Sport, rounding out your top 10. And Ethan Ayers and Max Schweid, 1/10 between them at the stripe. Nitro Motorsports over the Tech Sport car by just a nose. Then PT Autosports, Zach Hollingshead and Beltray Curtis, 13th and 14th. With Nitro Motorsports, Ethan Tovo and Tech Sports, Brett Kowalski, 15th and 16th. Livio Galanti and Jackson Tovo, 17th and 18th. Paul Foreman and Mike Lamara, Precision Racing LA teammates, in 19th and 20th, with Massimo Sinceri rebounding from the spin to 21st place. Then Theron Davis, Andrew Gilliland, and Curry, 23rd and 24th. And looking down the order, you see Rutledge Wood, Peyton Fain involved in a collision in 30th and 31st. They will bring up the rear of the order with Will Robusto with that penalty that we saw at the end of the race for the contact with the 46 of Lucas Weisenberg. Jackson's dad, Townsend, is here this weekend, and he will be sure to be at the podium celebrating with his son. We talked about the rising stars of North American motorsport, and many of them are right here. And again, the youngsters of this series making their way up into the history books in a single make series that has just been so incredibly popular, with a car that speaks to motorsport fans around the world. It's all about the enjoyment of driving and the enjoyment of racing. And these cars share so much of their characteristics with the road car, the near perfect front to rear weight distribution, and you see it on display, and drivers are just able to focus on the racing, slide the cars around, go toe to toe with some of the best in single make racing. The 7 car of Jackson Bell rolls to a stop, and he'll be very proud of that one. He was the car to beat today, that is for sure. And without the yellow flags, I don't know
that's how you drive.
There was anyone that was going to defeat Jackson Bell today.
Yeah.
And after coming up just short yesterday, fist pumping, celebrations from the team in the Copeland Motorsports camp, putting this team back on the top step after a few races without wins. It is their team's first victory of the season. John Dean pulls in, his teammate as well in the Copeland Motorsports camp. So double podium for the most successful team in Toyota GR Cup Series history. His second win and a return to COTA is a fruitful one for the youngster Jackson Bell. Helmet is off. And let's check down with Jackson Bell, our race winner, who's now with Amanda Busick.
And Jackson, when you considered how you weathered all of those restarts and that late push from Weston Workman there at the end, your second career win comes from an impressive qualifying effort earlier that gave you the pole position. Why did this victory start there?
That's just the easiest place to win from. You know, yesterday I had to start second and, you know, really drove my heart out, but just wasn't there at the end. So, you know, to put it on pole and then kind of dominate this one in that fashion was pretty cool. I mean, I had to work for it. Weston was driving really well. I saw him coming through the field. So I was just, you know, one more lap after lap, just trying to hit my marks and keep them behind me. But so happy for this Copeland Motorsports Group, Ron ability to get them another win here at COTA. So looking forward to many more.
Congratulations to Jackson Bell on his second career win in this series. And again, yet on the top of the Legends podium will be John Dean. And John, man, it is a work out there when you manage all the restarts and just those gaggle of Toyotas around you. How did you keep your elbows out?
Some of those guys had their elbows out a little further than me, but I was able to get a good finish today after a tough qualifying session, and I think we went backwards a little bit for qual 2, and I was just kind of hoping for a top 5, but the car was surprisingly good with changes that I thought were going to be backwards, but it was fantastic. This has been a fantastic weekend for me and the team. Happy to be here.
Congratulations to both John and Jackson on their win here in the race number 2 at COTA.
Yeah, job well done there by the Copeland Motorsports drivers, and John Dean out of breath. What a fun one. Here's a look at the highlights from Toyota GR Cup North America Race 2, Round 2 here in Austin, Texas. Big lunges up the inside for Will Robusto in the number 2 car on Ethan Goulart. The battle for third was fierce all day long, but it was a long ways in the rear view for Lucas Weisenberg and Jackson Bell. The 15 of Brett Kowalski going for a big slide and a ride through the grass with the 88 of Zach Hollingshead. Then Weston Workman making his way by Ethan Goulart for that podium position. That was sort of the hornet's nest today. With the 21 of Ford Koch right in the mix, Livio Galanti chasing his car for an entire sector with Alex Garcia, Kowalski, Brunson, and more. Then trouble in a full course yellow from this incident. Rutledge Wood and Peyton Fayen coming together in turn number 8. On the restart, Weston Workman went around the outside of the 7 of Jackson Bell, tried to pick the pocket of the Copeland Motorsports driver, and Will Robusto, a long lunge down the inside, tags the 46, spin and got back going, did Lucas Weisenberg to an 8th place result. Ethan Ayers and Lucas Weisenberg tangling in the S's with just a few laps to go. Then this crash on the final lap, 3 cars clouding together and hard into the wall on the final lap of the race. And Jackson Bell, leading the way on the last lap, left himself vulnerable with a slip-up at turn number 8. But Weston Workman was right behind him. Jackson Bell wins his second race of his career the second race at Circuit of the Americas with Sebring International Raceway coming up next in May. Round 3 of the championship heads to Central Florida for the next round of Toyota GR Cup North America.
Woo!